Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Battle of Ontario Hockey Podcast, featuring a Senators fan and a Leafs fan. We're here to talk about your two favorite teams, the rest of the NHL, local hockey, hockey all around the world, and to bring back memories from your favorite hockey teams and players. If you love the Leafs, Sens, B-Sens, NHL, or any other hockey, including the late Belleville Bulls, you are going to want to tune into our podcast. The gloves are off, the buckets are spinning, let's get the chirps flying. Welcome to the Boo Club!
Hey guys, welcome to episode 38 of the Battle of Ontario Hockey Podcast. I'm Flem, he's Brooks, and we wanted to start the show off just with a shout out to our sponsor today. It's Belleville Nissan. So guys, if you are in the market for a new car, check these guys out. They got tons of great deals. You can buy, finance, lease. Some great lease deals right now on the all-new 2021 Rogue, $335 a month. The 2021 Qashqai, $264 a month. Or probably my next car, the 2021 Versa. You can lease that right now for only $102 bi-weekly. They got tons of great deals going on right now. You can get 0% financing on select 2021 models. If that deal is not available, you can get up to $4,000 cash off from the factory on some other 2020 models. So check these guys out. They're great partners for us. They are going to be a whole sponsor at our golf tournament. And from what I hear, sounds like Dustin and his team from Belleville Nissan are bringing some cars to Rondell Glen the day of our golf tournament. So they're going to be a big partner there. And we just want to give a genuine shout out and thank you to Dustin Boyer and Belleville Nissan and the Boyer Auto Group.
I thought your next car was going to be a Lamborghini, bud. I didn't know. But no, that's good. That's good. So no, we reached out with them. I know you chatted with them for a long time, and it's going to be awesome. Like they want to bring cars out to the course, and I think it just it's really really good, and it just shows how dedicated these guys are. And I know you talk with Dustin quite a bit, and he's really excited for the tournament to bring his team there and to have a lot of fun. And we are a business, but part of our proceeds do go to help kids and to get kids in sports. And they know that. So it's awesome to have another very, very quality partner. So we thank them, and we hope we can have a long-lasting partnership with them.
And one more thing these guys do is they are big supporters of the military and a lot of other causes here, but they I think that it's been rumored they have like the best military discount in the area. So I know they do tons of stuff for the military and specifically the Trenton base. So just good guys to deal with. They're sports guys as well. So if you are in the market for a new vehicle or you're looking to trade yours in, give Belleville Nissan or the Boyer Auto Group a call.
So if the big BR is listening, you get a big discount, buddy. He ain't listening, but anybody who's listening that knows anyways, that Mike flew into the big BR if he's listening.
So, tons of stuff going on. It's a crazy time in the NHL right now. So we had the expansion draft. And hey, I want to say one thing before we get into the Seattle expansion draft. I just want to give a genuine fuck you to Frank Saravelli for breaking all that news. I don't know if you saw, but this expansion draft was supposed to happen.
I saw.
It was supposed to happen like 8 p.m. I'm sitting there like I'm genuinely pumped, like excited to get home. I'm thinking, I'm going to put the kids down like 7:30, go sit down, watch the expansion draft. I logged in it's impossible to avoid news now. Like I check my phone at like noon, and all the picks are out. Like, it's so annoying. Like, that's such a big opportunity for a new franchise in the league. Like to get your name out there, get your publicity. Like suspense, build that up. Like if the NHL could have made that a huge event, and I think whoever put that on, they royally screwed that up. I mean, the suspense of that event. I think tons of people were interested. I've been talking to so many guys about it, and then just for them to kind of leak out throughout the day, it was just really anticlimactic and. Not a good look for the NHL, in my opinion.
100% agree with you. I think, pending how this was all leaked out, if it was, we're going to, tell you this, but you can't say this to anybody, and then you go say it. As far as I'm concerned, you should be fined, and you shouldn't be allowed to be reporting on that again. That's just, And you know what? That's the way it is. I get you want to be the first guy out there, but they're putting on a whole show. So I'm not saying it's how do you say it, Cervelli or however you say his name, Don Chariot there, but Frank Cervelli. I'm not saying it's all blame on him. No. Maybe they were wanting him to do it, right?
Well, someone obviously gave that information.
Maybe it was leaked out, but either way, I think that's BS. And you know what? They wanted to put on a show. And the guys I was working with today, one of the guys said, "Oh, did you watch it?" I said, "No, why would I?" Yeah. I said, "First off, you already knew all the picks. I can just read them on the list. What do I need to watch for?"
Yeah, exactly.
It was a joke. It ruined the suspense. And that's what it's about these days. And it's tough when people know, but somebody screwed up, and I'm not blaming Frank, but if Frank was told not to tell anybody and he did that, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not saying he should be fired, but there should be consequences. But I also have a feeling that maybe it's the guy telling him.
Oh,
Maybe that guy deserves to be fired. Whoever it was,
it's someone from the
somewhere.
It's someone from the league, or it's someone from the Kraken. Like, for all that to get out, like, he doesn't have contact with all 32 teams like that just randomly give him their picks. Someone gave him that information, and that person fucked up as well. So I mean, I really think the NHL needs to investigate and figure how all that got leaked. And I mean, it's such a big damper for the Kraken. Like, that's a big moment for a franchise, and it's gone. You're never going to get that chance back.
No. So anyways, going into that, I mean, I think a lot of people were excited about the team, and then, in my opinion, we're not near as excited after. I think there were some players that could have been picked that weren't. Obviously, most of it's probably due with financing and having a budget, obviously. But I don't know. It's okay. I'm going to tell you guys how I feel right now. They're definitely not Vegas 2.0, not without not even close. And they will not be making the finals this year. So I'll bet you $1 million on that. Whoever wants it, take it. And it ain't happening. There was a lot of things that went right for Vegas. Sometimes things in life, they go right. Every bounce goes your way. And that's what happened. And there was just, everything lined up for them to have success, and there was some kind of weird, good karma, I want to say. I was talking to my buddy about this the other day, and there's just so many things that worked for Vegas, right? Like, in a weird way, one of the things I talked about was, you ever have like a grandparent, or somebody had a grandparent pass away, or somebody, whatever, and they played the next day and they got a hat trick? Like, you ever heard of that? Like, they scored a goal, like there's some weird thing. Like, and the one thing I thought was kind of different was, and it bounced back in a really good way, but the Vegas shooting was like during preseason, I think, wasn't it? And I think that really rallied the team and the city around them, because this is their only team. This is the only place where they could go and talk about it, and, thank the people that helped out, and honor the people that had passed away. You know what I mean? Yep. So there was a really positive vibe, I think, from that. Now, I'm not saying that's why they made the finals, but I'm just saying that really helps build an organization, go together. And then obviously Flower, and then some of the picks. And then we talked about, Seattle is different than Vegas. People aren't going to Seattle because it's Seattle and they get to party. How many teams the first year went into Vegas and went the night before? Every single team except one. Do you know who they were?
Vegas hangover.
Exactly. And do you know who they were?
Who?
The Islanders, I believe it was.
Really? I saw Lou
Lamoriello.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's, I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure. But anyways, there's just so many things that lined up, the hangover. I just thought there was a weird, really good karma to go about it as well with the shooting. All that combined, Flower, everybody playing well, everybody not taking them as serious as they should. And that all worked out. It ain't happening with Seattle. They don't have near as good as a team. I just don't see it.
The thing about the expansion draft is a lot of guys get thrust into roles that they'll never have the opportunity to get in their current organization. So look at a guy like William Karlsson, for example. Like, when I think he was with Columbus, and I think Columbus, actually, when that happened, they made like a side deal with Vegas to take Karlsson and not lose someone else. And then Karlsson blows up and gets, like, I don't know what he got, but 70 or 80 points that year. Look at a guy like Riley Smith. Like, he's just a no one hanging around in Florida, I believe.
Is it Marchessault?
Marchessault. Yeah, Marchessault. Yeah.
He was a big guy.
That whole
he came in with a Ferrari. Wasn't he the guy that came in with a Ferrari or Lambo?
I'm not
playoffs?
Sure. I don't know.
He did. Marchessault. I'm pretty sure it was him. It was either a Ferrari or a Lambo. It was kind of cool. Like, that was his thing. Probably somebody gave it to him, a Ferrari dealership or whatever. I don't know. Maybe he bought it, but he got more money than us. But no, I just thought I had to talk about that because the cars at the start of the show.
Yeah,
and it's still good. I'm glad we have it. I actually rather have 32 teams than the 31, and I think the expansion's great. I think one more team has to move to Canada. One of these states teams, they got to go. I hate to say it, that's my opinion, but I think Phoenix is probably number one that I think should move, and I think we should go to Quebec City.
When do you call time of death on Phoenix? Like, it's almost like they've been on life support for so long now. It's like you're past the point of giving up. You just fucking leave them on forever. Like, I don't know. Like, it's been going on.
I love that.
When are they going to come on to Hamilton? Like, they were going to come to Hamilton in like 2006 or something like that. It was like a done deal. Like, someone buys them, and they're just like, no, it's not happening. Like, we're fucking 2022 now, and they're still on life support. Like, Time to pull the plug, Gary.
But
2021 didn't work, Gary. Like pull the plug on him. I don't know.
well, yeah, I love that. I love that. You know what? I still think I don't think. I mean, Hamilton I think would work, but I really would like to see the Quebec City.
Oh yeah,
I don't know.
awesome.
They got the
Yeah.
arena there already, and I think the French, you know, the fans and like the fans of Montreal, and I think you know, I just think so many things could work out. I would love to see it. Then you're gonna have 8 teams in Canada, right? The rest of the states, you've got even numbers. I just think it would be awesome. I hope it happens one day. But anyways, we're here to talk about the expansion draft. We also have the draft tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
So there's so many things to go on about. There's been trades, there's been signings. Apparently, Hyman is going to Edmonton, from what I'm hearing.
Yep.
And I heard something like $5 million a year for 8 years. Did you hear that, or what did you?
I haven't heard a number yet. No, I've heard they're. I've heard
what the rumblings I've heard.
I've heard they're looking to put the 7th and 8th year on to bring the annual cap hit down, but I don't think I've heard a number of it yet. But yeah, I would think it's going to be, you know, $5 to $6 million for a guy like that. I mean,
well, if it's 8 years, it'll probably be lower, but $5 million, that's a lot of money for 8 years, right? Like,
yeah,
I would sign him in a heartbeat for 6 years for 4 years for $6 million. I think he's worth it, but you're doubling that, you know, years ago.
But who knows how those 7th, 8th years works now? Like, man, think of all these guys. Like, they're going to bury Weber on like long-term injury reserve, like next like 12 years of his fucking contract. Like, there's just so many things you can pull now, kind of with the salary cap. So, I mean, if the deal shakes out bad and in year 6 or 7, and he's already made $38 million in that 40, you know, you could say, hey, why don't you just go on like LTIR? Like, we'll pay you $1 million a year, and your cap hit's gone. Like, do you really want to keep playing hockey for $1 million a year?
Pay the guy, though. You still got to pay the guy as a business. I mean,
oh, I know you have to pay him, but I mean, it's the cap, right? It's the cap hit. That's all it really comes down to.
Sure,
you know?
for sure. So
they're not worried about the money.
Now, to go on with that, since we're already at this topic, what do you think of Hyman being in Edmonton?
I mean, I think it's great. I think it's an absolutely great fit. Like, I think he could play with either McDavid or Draisaitl. Both those guys need a grinder to go in and get the puck for them, do the dirty work. And Hyman's not a guy that not only is just an offensive guy. Like, I'm not saying he's an offensive juggernaut, but he brings intangibles to your team. He brings leadership. He brings character. He's a guy that'll block a shot. He'll kill penalties. He'll go in front of the net. I think it's great. I think Edmonton's main problem is they just have too many passengers on the team outside of the 2 big dogs. You know, everyone else is just kind of along for the ride, and they can't keep up. I think Hyman, a guy right now, at least for the next 2 or 3 years, he's good enough that he can be a complimentary player on with one of those guys, and I think he'll work out great. So, I mean, teams are looking for guys like that. Teams are no longer looking for just, you know, pure skill, pure skaters, pure scorers. You got to get goals different ways. You got to get points different way, and Hyman's a guy that can do that. And I think he'll look good beside McDavid. I really do. I mean, how can he not?
Well, there's the last thing. How can you not? But I love it too, and I think that's an awesome fit.
Yeah.
I would actually be really excited because I love Hyman. I think he's a phenomenal player.
What a lucky guy to go from Matthews to McDavid, eh? Like, your 2 centers your career, like fuck.
and that just makes some money. But you know, at the same time, he's earning it, right? Like, these teams they got the best player in the world, or you know, top 2 of the top 5 forwards in the world, right? We would say Draisaitl got to be up there with numbers like. You know, he led the league the year before. So, you know, they're looking for players to go. And you're talking about the intangibles he has. Man, oh, man, he just does so many little things that your numbers guys like Dubas don't understand. And I get the cap and I get he's gone. But, man, oh, man, numbers aside, business aside, that's a huge fucking hole in the Toronto Maple Leafs team, period, by losing him. I know we said it before, and they need to replace him. They have to. If they don't replace him, man, holy shit. I got very little expectations for Toronto Maple Leafs this year.
Yeah, I mean, if you lose Hyman, I mean, you're pretty much down to 4 good forwards. And I mean, I don't know. So just let's circle back to the expansion draft. So what'd you think of Seattle?
Yeah.
Like, how'd you think that played out? Like, man, the one thing I noticed is, I noticed a couple things, is they didn't take any bad contracts at all. Like, anyone that was signed for longer than 3 or 4 years, like 3 or 4 million, not interested. Like, you know, obviously they had the chance at Carey Price, Tarasenko. Carey Price is doing $11 million signing bonus. Like, who knows the finances of the Kraken starting out? You know, you're a new team. Maybe you don't want to pay a 34-year-old goalie $11 million in a month after you have him. He hasn't played a game, right? So, you know, the pass kind of makes sense a little bit. And just looking at the way the draft shaped, like, it doesn't look like they're going to be a contending team right out of the gate like Vegas. But we didn't think Vegas would be either. Like, you looked at Vegas's lineup when they first drafted that team. You said, it's an okay team. A lot of guys stepped up and exceeded expectations there. So Seattle can do it too. They do have the 2nd overall draft pick tomorrow night too. So that's something, you know, maybe they can find a center there. I think they're drafting the guy out of the well, if you're checking, they're drafting the guy out of Michigan State. I think I don't remember his name, Matthew something. But yeah, one thing they're fucking big and they're young too. looks like a lot of guys are kind of in that like 23 to 26-year-old age bracket. So that's a team that can grow, and they got a lot of talent and a lot of cap space now. Like they can circle back to teams like, St. Louis or Nashville, and they can say, hey, you exposed Ryan Johansson. Do you really want to get rid of him? Well, why don't you attach, a first round pick with him or something like that? And now I'll eat that $8 million and I find a center. So, I mean, they've left their possibility open. They're not married to anything right now. And I don't know. I think that's a good thing. Cap space becoming more and more valuable. So they could be a team that, is a good team by the end of the year. Like all sorts of deals be made, I think.
Yeah, 100%. Sorry, I read an email for but anyways, no, 100%. And I looked at it this way: it's a little bit of like where I feel like Vegas kind of jumped. They didn't really do like a rebuild or a build. They did, but they kind of just went so fast.
Yeah,
it was like where I feel like Seattle is almost like what Toronto did 5-6 years ago, and what Ottawa did the last couple of years, where they're almost like the rebuilding. I know they're not rebuilding, but they're building, right? So they're almost starting more young, where Vegas kind of went ahead of that, and it worked out for them, but that could have also bit them in the ass, and it still might. Vegas hasn't won yet, and they still got like Mark Stone on a big contract that might not look good towards the end of it. There isn't still, they've had a lot of success, but that doesn't mean that they're going to get to the Holy Grail, right? So it doesn't mean that is always the right way to go. It might still be. I think they're going to be a contender for the next couple of years. They also had Marc-Andre Fleury, who was, when he came in, Marc-Andre Fleury, who is one of the best goalies in the world. He's a little bit up and down, but man, oh man, that guy, I always loved him as a goalie. I just feel like he has one bad game or two bad games and he gets so much scrutiny. And it's like, man, this guy's phenomenal though. And his character too.
Yeah.
You always like a guy where you see like videos and stuff off the ice, and you can tell who's your guy, you're a good guy, I think, for the most part. He just seems like such a laid back, fun guy to be around, that all his teammates love. And you hear that from him too, right? So, that's the thing about, we don't know. We're all, it's unpredictable. It will be interesting. They do have, like you say, a high end pick. Are they going to use it? I think that the coolest thing with them is with all the cap space they have, there's a lot of teams that are right at the roof or going to be at the roof, right?
Yeah.
That maybe they can help. So there could be a lot of trades come the next couple of months, especially with Seattle.
And it was rumored like Francis wanted like a first round pick to do any favor for you kind of thing. So that's why there wasn't many side deals there was with Vegas. Like, man, I think like 12 or 15 teams made like a side deal with Vegas not to pick someone. So, but anyway, let's jump into who they took from Ottawa. They got Joey Decourt. How do you think that was going to play out? And not a horrible situation for the Senators. Just Decourt's a very a good young goalie, but I mean, you could have lost a worse player than that. I mean, for your organization.
To be honest, if I'm Seattle, unless I'm taking Carey Price and Decourt's now fourth on the list, I would have done the same. The other guys that they kind of probably could have taken was Dadonov, but Dadonov's overpaid.
Too much money. Yeah.
Made too much money. I think he's like $5 million or something.
Yeah, $5 million.
He's not worth it. I do not like that contract. I actually wish they would have taken him. The other guy's Tierney. Tierney's kind of he might be coming over the hill. He's had some pretty good years in Ottawa, and honestly, he was part of that Carlson trade. And I can't say I don't like him because he has done all right, but he's not a future player for Ottawa if they're going to win. There's no doubt about it. But he's been a good gap player. Just can't take anything away from him. But those are probably the other two top guys. So to take Joey Decourt, so here's the other thing to go with it. Joey kind of came up, was it 2 years ago or a year and a half ago with the Belleville Senators and did really, really well. He actually surpassed Gustafsson as the number one. I think it was it Hogberg moved up to the NHL, and then Joey stepped in and did really, really well. And they were in first place before COVID hit. So a lot of people had a lot of promise for him. And it wasn't that Gustafsson did bad. Gustafsson actually had a pretty good end of the year too. So a lot of people felt like he was better. The one thing you got to remember is Gustafsson is European. He came from over there. It's a totally different game. The way they play, the style of game, the traffic is different. Rules are different. The ice surface is different. There's a lot of things. So he's had to adjust. And he's also 2 years younger. In my opinion, and I've said this from day one, I'm more of a fan of Gustafsson. So I was really happy because they had to pick one or the other between him and Decourt, who they're going to keep. And I'm really happy they kept Gustafsson. Having said that, I really like Decourt, and I wish him the best in the future. And I still think he could be a really good goalie. Is he going to be a number one? Who knows? But I think, he might have the chance to prove himself like he did in the American League. But if I'm putting my money on somebody and I got to pick one of the two, especially within 2 more years to gap up on him, I really like Gustafson. I really do. I know Joey did win that big game. I just want to remind everybody here. Does everybody remember the game that Ottawa was down 5-1 to the Toronto Maple Leafs?
Oh,
He came back and won time. Joey Decor was the goalie, and I believe it was his first NHL win. So I'll always remember that, Joey. So thank you, bud. No, so you know what? It's tough losing. I didn't want to lose either. The one positive thing as a Senators fan is we do have some other goalies, in our depth chart. So I think if there's one position we could lose somebody at, it's probably goaltending. To be honest, there's 2 or 3 other guys that are in Ottawa's, Ottawa's depth chart, not depth chart, but that's system, I guess.
Yeah.
In their system. I was looking for another word, but in their system that could be potential, NHL goalies. So that's the luck to Joey, but it's a smart decision, I think, by Seattle. And I think he's kind of depth around the 3rd position. But as we know in the NHL, goalies get hurt. Look at Toronto. Look at how many different goalies they've had, right? Yep. Even some of the teams that Toronto have played against, they've even had to play and lose against Zamboni driver. So
surprised they didn't take him.
You never know. It's always good to have lots of depth on goalies. So no. So and then Ottawa also released today, I think it was that certain players that they're not going to offer contracts to, and I believe Hogberg is one of them. Yeah. So just thought I'd throw that out there as well. And I'm not a Hogberg fan. I think he blew it this year. I think we knew it. Well, we had a lot of fun with him. We were talking. What were we saying here on this podcast? How he couldn't stop?
Because it was right in the middle of COVID. You said you're skipping Belleville, going right to Brampton.
That's awesome. Don't even fucking send him to Belleville. Yeah. Send him to Brampton. I was so mad.
Do you remember that goal?
He was terrible. Like,
do you remember that
some of the goals? He's out of the net by like 2 feet. He's giving this much.
That was the Draisaitl goal.
That one was really bad.
Like this is the net. He's standing like over here, and like he shoots it.
Yeah, and that wasn't the only time he did that. He did that many times. Yeah. But then he'd throw in like one of every 5 games he'd play really, really well.
Yeah.
I don't know. But honestly, I'm glad he's gone. So there's my Sens talk. I'm waiting now for Ottawa. As you can see, it's nice to be able to. I got the Sens jersey back behind me again. Hanging on my boy's crib. We're double teaming this room right now until he's able to go upstairs. But anyways, it's nice to be able to think about your team again because it's been a while because of playoffs. Ottawa hasn't been in the playoffs. Toronto hasn't been in the playoffs very long, it didn't last very long anyway. So but no, it's good. I'm excited. We'll see what happens. The draft's Friday, but I think there's going to be some deals happen within the next couple of months, especially like I said with Seattle having the cap room. There's going to be some movement.
And speaking of deals, the Leafs made a deal just prior to the expansion draft. And the guy Seattle took off the Leafs, man, I had learned to fucking love Jared McCann over the 7 minutes he was in the organization. So sad to see him go. The Leafs make a deal. They send, I think it's Hollander and a 7th round pick to get McCann. So the rumor is that Pittsburgh knew McCann was going to go. So they had to get whatever they could for him. And it pretty much came down to the Leafs just adding in, keeping either him or Kerfoot. I would have definitely rather McCann stick around than Kerfoot, but I mean, that's the way it kind of played out. So, instead of losing, a penalty killer and a 3rd line player, you lose a prospect that's never played a game in North America and a 7th round pick. So it could have turned out worse. I don't love it that much. I would have liked to see McCann kind of get a shot up with the big boys and then take Kerfoot, but that's not my call. It's not Dubas' call either. I don't want to blame it on Dubas, but I've never been a Kerfoot guy. I don't think he's got enough skill. I just think he's kind of like a tweener. I kind of hate those guys that aren't good enough to play 2nd line, but don't have the skill set to play 3rd line center. It just seems like a waste of just a waste of a spot almost. You're not good enough to do the things you should be doing, and he just can't shoot. Honestly, Kerfoot looks like he almost like flutters the puck every time he shoots. I mean, if the guy's going to score 15 goals a year, he'll be lucky. They'll be going off his skate and off his ass. So I don't think he brings much to the team. I wish they would have taken Kerfoot and kept McCann, but that's the way it shakes out. So a little bit of asset management by Dubas, trading the 7th and Hollander back to Pittsburgh, who they did give up in the I think it was the what's his name, Kapanen deal. So a guy Pittsburgh obviously liked and got back, but a guy never played North America, so Leafs didn't lose too much in the draft, and that's how it played out.
So why did he make the trade again? Sorry, I'm kind of confused.
Well, so Pittsburgh was going to get taken, or McCann was going to get taken in the expansion draft for Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh knew they were losing for nothing, right? So Pittsburgh goes out and says, hey, just take McCann, and I want this prospect we sent in the deal last year. So Toronto sends that guy back, Hollander back to Pittsburgh, and then Pittsburgh just loses like a depth defense that they don't care about, right? So they knew they were going to lose McCann for nothing. They were going to lose him for absolutely nothing.
So all that is asking Toronto. Then Toronto just loses them anyways. So all Toronto's doing is
pretty much. So it's just say Seattle took Kerfoot. McCann's the instant replacement for Kerfoot, right? So it's pretty much take McCann or take Kerfoot. No matter what, we're kind of not really losing anyone because they fill the same role, right? So that's why it played out that way. I think. I mean, it just just a little expansive draft gymnastics kind of thing where McCann was going to go either way, whether he was the pick from Pittsburgh or Toronto. That's just how it played out. And Pittsburgh got a prospect back that they liked, and Toronto didn't lose a roster player, I guess. So
yeah, makes sense. I understand it now that you say it. So who's your biggest surprise, or who you're excited for on Seattle?
On Seattle, the biggest surprise? I don't know. The biggest surprise is Adam Larson to me. I really thought Edmonton would do anything they could to sign Larson. Then when I see Larson go for 4 years times $4 million a year, that's a fucking great deal for first or second pairing right shot defenseman. I mean, so that
why wouldn't you keep him? I don't get it.
There's something's got to be up there. Like he must not be happy, or some guys don't like Edmonton, right? Like, man, it's cold there. I don't know if he's a guy who doesn't like Edmonton. I don't know, but something's got to be going on.
You got to learn to like the cold.
Man, for $4 million a year, like that's an auto contract. Like, man, I thought Larson, 4th overall pick, like in his draft year, he's been a great player. Like, remember once upon a time he was traded straight up for Taylor Hall. So I mean, a guy with for $4 million. I can't find barely any defenseman in the league I'd rather take for $4 million than Adam Larson. I really can't. So I mean, that's a steal of the deal for the Kraken. Another guy I was just glad they picked because I think it's a great guy to have, and is a Mark Giordano. And the reason I think that is because
I want to talk about him too.
Yeah. If Seattle's not in the playoffs come trade deadline time, that's an easy contract. Say, hey, we're going to retain half this guy's salary, so you can get Mark Giordano for $2.5 million against the cap, and you're going to get a boatload for him. Someone's going to give you a first and a really good prospect just because you can eat half that salary cap. He's on an expiring contract, so I think that's just a smart pick for asset management wise. You're going to flip this guy at the trade deadline next year, or at some point if you're in the playoffs, and you're going to get a haul for him, and you're going to start rebuilding your team. So that first defensive pairing of Giordano and Larson, I think that's a great first pairing to start with, especially for an expansion team. And I just think I think that was the best pick they probably could have made was Giordano. My opinion.
What's your thoughts on Calgary getting rid of him? Is it the contract, the age, them trying to move forward in a different position?
Yeah, it's just that's a weird thing to me. I some of the guys Calgary kept over him. Like I don't have him in front of me, but I mean, I think that I don't know if they'll regret that one day. I just it's a really tough call. They do need to change the culture in that locker room. I don't think Giordano was the problem, but at some point it kind of gets to like when you're like the Leafs. Like sometimes when you lose over and over and over again, even if you're a good hockey player, change is needed. You just need to reset the mentality in that dressing room, and just sometimes you need to shake the guys up, wake them up, let them know nobody's safe. And I think that's kind of what it comes down to there. I think they kept some really weird guys up front. In my opinion, I know a lot of guys like them, but I don't know. I think that, the best way to build a team is through center ice and defense. So I would have kept Giordano, but that's weird how it played out to me. Honestly,
I'm wondering if he's talking about wanting a trade out too, right?
Well, it's the last year of his deal. I think that's the main part. Is it's probably the last year of his contract. He's 35, 36 years old, so you're only going to get 1 or 2 more years out of him. You might as well just keep the guy that you got. You got 5, 6, 7 years of control left. Who might,
like you said, if you're not going to make the playoffs, you think Calgary's going to make the playoffs this year?
Well, I think Calgary's in a different spot than Seattle. I think it's a disappointment if Calgary misses the playoffs, where it's not if Seattle does, right? So I think Calgary takes a lot of heat if they pull that trade off, and maybe they don't have the cap space to eat it. You know what I mean? Like I don't know where they are cap wise, but that's an easy salary for Seattle to eat. I think they got $30 million of cap space. So any of these guys they pull in, they can eat money and send them off for a good amount.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's always definitely good to chat about that. And I think he's one hell of a player. He was an unbelievable defenseman a few years ago.
Yeah.
I think he was up for the Norris. I don't think he won, but I know he was up.
I'm pretty sure he did win, bud.
Oh, did he win it? Did he end up winning it?
I think so, yeah.
There you go. And but I as we said, talking about Calgary, he ain't the problem in Calgary.
No.
Johnny Gaudreau's got to get it going. But his line mate there, he had a run this year. What's his face?
Monahan.
Sorry, Monahan was shit. He was awful this year. He was worse than Johnny. When those are your 2 top players and they're playing like that, averaging like 50 points a year, like that's a joke. Making good money. Like as far as I'm concerned, you're just plain and simple, you're not good enough, right? And that's why they weren't even close. So they're in that gap now where it's like, do we rebuild, we retune up, and they brought Sutter in, and Sutter seemed to make the team worse. Now, in all fairness, he didn't have enough time. I think he's the type of guy, he's really got to change the environment. And, I think it might take a year or two. You never know. We've seen what he did in LA, right? He won a cup. So
that's just one thing I want to touch on. That's something we really talked about when we started doing the podcast is what's his name? Brad Treliving. Is he the right guy for the GM job there? Because he needs to make some tough decisions. The Calgary, like I said, straight up, Sean Monahan, is he good enough? I don't know. Like, is Monahan a number one center? I don't think so, man. Like, I don't think he's got the skill set for it. Like, he might slot in as a nice second line center, but it's $7 million. That's a fucking expensive second line center. So, I mean, that might be a call that really burns the organization, because if Monahan produces like this next year, if he has another year where he scores 30 points in 82 games, that's a fucking disaster for Calgary. That's literally
like
almost
30 points.
I don't know how many points he had. I'm just saying, if he had a horrible year, a god awful year, like I'm not even concerned about the points. He just looked so bad out there. He had no impact on the game, offensively or defensively. And Treliving's gonna have to make some tough calls here, and he's gonna have to find a way to get some bad contracts out of town. So
28 points in 50 games.
There you go. So I mean, that's not like, so that's 40
that's
points.
Under 50 average.
That's a third line player making over $7 million a year.
Well, second to third line, yeah, but definitely not a first liner.
Yeah, but
that's at some point just over every other game.
Yeah, so
mathematicians out there, that ain't fun. That ain't very good. So you're averaging what, like 45 to 50 points a year?
Yeah.
Sorry, bud, but you can blame all you want to all your other.
It's like a quarter million dollar a point.
Yeah,
it's not a good ratio.
Yeah, and I wonder what contract he's on, but it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, things have to change in Calgary. So what else did you think about it? Any other players? I mean,
well, one thing I noticed is
granted, Tanev. I always liked him. I don't know why.
I don't like Tanev at all. I thought it was.
I don't know. There's something about him. I liked him. I feel like as a depth player, I don't know. Mm-hmm. I always liked him.
Yeah, no. The one thing I noticed is they're big as fuck. Like, man, they got Alesiak, they got Cody Soucy. They drafted McDermott, I think his name is, out of LA. Dunn's a big guy. I mean, they drafted for size for sure. A couple of the young prospects. I think not the one from Calgary or not.
Jordan Eberle. There's another name.
Yeah, that was a weird one. Like, man, that made me think that the Islanders got to be up to something, because the Islanders kept Matt Martin over Jordan Eberle and Josh Bailey. Like, just a really weird thing. Like, man, we were talking about the playoffs, so Eberle looked really good. Like, he looked like he was coming into his own. Kind of looked like he did during that I think it was 14 World Juniors. Is that what it was, when he was kind of on fire there?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I thought that was
$5.5 million he makes. Is it? But that's not that high. I mean,
no, that was just a really strange. Like, man, who would you rather have, Matt Martin or Jordan Eberle? Like, that just made me think.
I don't know. That's Toronto. They got rid of Martin.
I think Lou's up to something. Like, maybe he's big game fishing. I'm thinking Jack Eichel, maybe. Like, maybe he's trying to make a run at someone. That's the only way that makes sense to do something like that. Like, I don't know. Eberle was contributing to your team. He was a good little player.
Yeah, I don't get it either. That's why I brought that up.
And Josh Bailey. Like, Josh Bailey's a good player too. He's a top six winger in the NHL, and they exposed him. So a couple weird things about the Islanders there, but man, who knows with Lou? Like, he just goes rogue. He doesn't really,
Josh Bailey from Oshawa, is he not?
Yeah, Oshawa, Bowmanville, I think.
Bowmanville. Yep.
Yeah. So, but a good player. Like, Josh Bailey was like a 10th overall pick, and they keep him for Matt Martin. Just a weird thing. But yeah, Eberle's a guy. As soon as I saw Eberle on the list, I think they'll take Eberle. Like, there's no way. You need someone to play some power play, someone to score you some points, someone to play with Gordon. Yanni Gordon's probably your first line center right now. Some news came out that he needs shoulder surgery. He's probably out till Christmas, but that's a guy I like. That's a good pick too, I thought there. What about you?
No, I liked it for sure, 100%. I mean, why wouldn't you go with him, right? So, but it'll be interesting to see what happens when, like, there's obviously going to be some names. There's lots of names on here that aren't, as well known as other teams, top first and second line, players. So it'd be interesting to see, like we talked about before, who's going to step up, who's going to get more power play minutes than they would on any other team, and what they're going to do with them, right? Because if they don't, then someone else gets the opportunity. So it's always interesting to see, and there's going to be lots of these guys where their stocks are going to rise this year without question.
And you know what motivation does to a player? Like, man, if you tell a guy, like, if someone gets drafted to an expansion team, you say, hey, this is your biggest chance you're ever going to get in the NHL. Like, you're not going to walk into any other team and be given a top 6-minute role. Like, this is literally your time to show what you can do as a hockey player. And this is a make or break year for you. Like, if you have a good year, you can do whatever you want. If you don't have a good year, he might be out of the league. So that just, it's something big can happen to these Spain teams. So these guys are motivated, they're hungry, and I think you will see some good years out of these forwards, especially.
Yeah, for sure. Well, everyone, we'd like to give thanks to another one of our partners, Sangerland Construction. They specialize in excavating, waterproofing, grading, complete landscaping, fences, decks, and more. Give them a call for all your outdoor needs. These guys are located right in Belleville, but they do service the Quinte region. They do tons and tons of work. They do great work. They're a smaller business, but they're more owner operated, where the owner's always on site checking things. You're not going to have, some 18-year-old working on a job not knowing what's going on. So Sangerland Construction, give them a call. Like we said, you need a fence built, you need a deck. Don't go out on a Saturday and do it and build it wrong, and then all of a sudden you wasted your whole weekend, and then you got to hire them. Hire them at the start. Okay, Sangerland Construction, find them on Google, find them on Facebook, give them a call. Thanks to Cody and his team. They're also, Cody's a real big partner and friend of ours. He's in our baseball tournament this weekend. He's in our golf tournament, and he's also sponsored a hole at our golf tournament. So thanks, Cody and Sangerland Construction. You guys are awesome. Get your decks built, guys. Give them a call.
Yeah, the price of lumber is going down, so it's the perfect time to give Cody and his team a call. These guys are great, and like we always say, buy from people who support your community. These guys give to local causes. They're in your community. They're homegrown. So check them out. These guys do a great job. We assure you that. So
all right, buddy.
What else in the news here, Brokey? So one thing I want to talk about. So Montreal's been playing all sorts of funny business with injuries right now, right? Like, so they're saying Carey Price was going to have hip surgery. Like, don't know if he's going to come back. They're saying Shea Weber's injured, likely going to retire, never going to come back. Like, so I don't know. People seem to be buying into the Shea Weber thing. I'm not too sure I do. Like, man, Shea Weber just was playing 20. Like, he fucking gave out 700 cross checks the last 3 weeks of the season. Like, man, that guy looks fine. Like, I'm sure he can tell. He's going to be the next Kucherov. If Montreal makes the playoff, Weber's going to sit out all year and come back for the first round. Just fucking be laying the cross checks all fucking day. But I don't know.
I can stop you right there.
Yeah.
Rocky's prediction: Montreal does not make the playoffs next year.
I agree with that. I don't see there's a way Montreal makes the playoffs.
Here's the thing: they already said if Price is getting surgery, so if Weber's gone, you got your captain and your defenseman leader gone the entire year. If that's the case, even if he comes back for playoffs, and they already stated that Carey Price is probably going to miss a couple months or a bit of time at the start of the year. So yeah, I get Jake Allen's a good goalie, but he can't play every game, right? So who then your third string? And you know what? We already think that they wouldn't have made the playoffs this year if it wouldn't have been for the way it was built. If it was in the regular format, which it'll be again this year coming up, they won't make the playoffs. They only had one more win than the Ottawa Senators last year, and Ottawa got off to a horrific start. So I think they overachieved this year, and I think it's going to be a lot of like Ottawa in 2017, Ottawa in 2018. They got everything going for them in 2017. They almost made the cup final. They were this damn close. Screw you, Chris Kunitz. Anyways, 2018, nothing went right. Nothing. And I'm not saying nothing's going to go right. My prediction, we all have our predictions. The Montreal Canadiens will not make the playoffs. So you will not have the Weber Kucherov situation for the cap with no money again.
Yeah. But if Shea Weber is done, I just want to say, man, what a warrior Shea Weber is. Like, what a great career. There's some time, like, he was unreal. Like, just remember his time back in Nashville. Like, he was just one of the old school, one of the best defensemen like we've seen probably in the last decade. Great player. Don't like when he's playing Montreal because he just fucking lays the cross check on every little Leaf player in the fucking world. But and no one does anything about it. But that's a story for another day. How many gold medals did he win? 3-time gold medal winner. Did he ever win the cup? I don't think he won.
Did he get 3? No, he doesn't have a cup. But did he get 3? Was he with 3? Did they win 3 gold medals?
Well, he was definitely Vancouver.
14. Oh, was he in Vancouver too?
He was definitely in Vancouver.
We won 3 in a row. Did we? 10, 4? No, we only won 10 and 14.
Yeah, we didn't win 06. Yeah, so maybe just 2.
06 was a bad year.
Yeah. Yeah. 2-time gold medal winner. I'll take that, bud.
Anyways, yeah, I know. I was just counting the wins. I wasn't trying to correct you. I was trying to think in my head.
And how many? He's still. And you know what the funny thing about Weber? If he retires, the cap hit for Weber goes back to Nashville because they signed that long-term deal. So Montreal's got no skin in the game if Weber retires. They can just pass that cap hit back on Nashville. Because when the deal was done. Sorry, go ahead.
No, keep going.
So when you sign a contract for a guy over 35 years old, once you get past the 35-year, it's considered, if he's retired, it's a cap recapture penalty or something like that. I'm not sure 100% how it works, but the team that signed the deal takes the hit for it, not the team that has him. So if he's retired, Nashville's going to have to start taking a cap hit penalty, a big one too, for Shea Weber, who hasn't been on their team in 4 or 5 years. So an interesting way to see how that's going to play out. I don't think that hurts Montreal, because if he does retire, I don't think it's any penalty in Montreal. And that was a big part.
That was my question I was trying to get to. Like, if a guy retires, is he still on the cap hit?
If he's over 30, if you sign him to an over 35 contract, yes, he would still be on your cap hit, because they're trying to eliminate those like long-term deals, like the Hyman deal. Like, they're trying to say, like, hey, if Zach Hyman retires when he's 34, you're still going to pay him because you signed him until he was 36 years old. You know, so it's trying to eliminate like the Marian Hossa, the Ilya Kovalchuk deals, like the Shea Weber deal. Like, that was a 14-year deal.
Andrew Shaw just retired, but he has 1 year left on his contract, or no?
Not sure.
Let's pretend he has 1 year left on his contract. Does that go against his cap?
It does not, because he's not over 35 years old.
Okay. There's my question.
Yeah.
So there you go, everybody. I know I probably wasn't the only one wanting to know that. And we know Fleming knows all the things.
Thanks, bud. Lots of homework to do.
But that's definitely interesting to see what happens. And Weber isn't what if I was a coach and I'm coaching, I'd love to have a Weber. He's not I don't know. I like the flashier guys. I'm not saying I was a Subban fan, but he is a solid rock back there, and it showed in the playoffs. But I'd still love to see the Carlson type of player. That's my style. But anyways, he did throw 14 million cross checks, and you know what? A lot of them should have been called. I'm not saying that we had to soften up the game, but some of them are just retarded. Sorry, I probably shouldn't say that on here, but some of them just are just, that's what I don't get. Okay, you cross check a guy 100 times and then no call, but then you just tap a guy on the stick or on the glove, and oh my God, it's a penalty.
As soon as that guy turns around and slashes you in the shin pad for the 30 cross checks, there's the fucking penalty. 2 minutes.
But I'm talking about, to go through the middle. Of the
I know. Yeah.
Some of them got to be called. Don't get me wrong, but when it's like a tap, or the guy lifts his stick sometimes, oh my God. Anyways, the NHL has to get the refereeing right. The refereeing was atrocious, I thought, in the playoffs. And I'm not saying that everything has to be tightened. I just don't get how they can go from not calling anything and then they just pick and choose when they call. And the other thing that's frustrating is, if you look at the start of the year, there's always so much called. At the end, there's nothing called. I think it needs to be tightened up a little bit, where maybe you call a little bit more at the end of the year and a lot less at the start of the year.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I mean, there's
just no consistency, man. I don't get it. It's always been that way in hockey. It's not that way in other sports, though. That's what baffles me.
No, and it's just called the rule book. Like, everyone says, like, the rule book's up to interpretation. No, it's not. Like, a slash is a slash, a hook's a hook. Just call the penalties. Like when you're doing like baseball umpiring, like they went to the not an automated strike zone now, but you can track the ball and you can see where it's in the strike zone, and they use that to grade umpires' performances. Because before, a lot of umpires would say, like, I'll call a strike this far off the plate outside. That's my strike zone. Like, you don't have a fucking strike zone. It's the strike zone's like the rule book, Like, I've umpired for so many years, and guys would a guy would call a pitch like way the fuck up here. Like, why'd you call that? It's like, that's my strike zone. Like, it's not your fucking strike. You don't have a strike zone. Like, just call the rule book. Like,
I love it. I love it.
It's so stupid.
I love what you're saying right now, because man, there's nothing more that fucking irritated me, and I just wanted to I don't want to say what I want to say, but referees that think it's about them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I have a buddy who said this to me one time. He goes, just I was reffing in this one game. I just called a penalty on this team. They're already up 3-2 or something in the series, and they could have won this game. So I thought I'd give them a penalty early to see how they responded.
Yeah.
It's not up to you to give a fucking penalty. You call a penalty when it's a penalty. If it's not a penalty and they're up 3 games to none or whatever, they're down 3, I don't care. Mm-hmm. It's not up to you. You are not the game referee. You are there to make sure that the game is played properly, period.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I hate referees that would pick and choose whether they're going to call penalties or whether they're not, or they're going to like a certain player or whether they're not. To me, that's a joke, and that's what ruins sports, and I actually hated it, and it hurt me playing, because I'd be the type of guy where I just put everything into it, and if a bad call happens, I lose it, then the ref would hate me more, then I get another fucking bad call, and then there you go. And I know it. I'll admit it now. I mean, when my son grows up, I'm going to try and teach him the best I can not to do that. But you just get so fired up and into the game that sometimes your emotions get to you. And I know there's other players that even when I coach, they would, right? It's just, but it's frustrating. Why can't you just call it the way it's supposed to be called? And how do these refereeing officials, or not officials, but their bosses, whatever it's called, how do they not see it? Now this guy's still a ref. It's a joke. And anyway. And there's my thing on refs. Just irritate the shit out of them.
Obviously like messaging sent to the refs, like call at the start of the year, call penalties, call everything, because every fucking one of them does it. Like the message is obviously coming down from the league, and it just doesn't make sense. Just call the rule book like it's written. Like, and I do not want to see any more penalties than there has to be. But if you got to call 20,
no, I don't either. I'm saying there's got to be a middle ground. Like, just call it. If this isn't if I cross check you in the face and it's a cross check the next time, if I give you a light tap in the back, it's not a cross check. Then we know the difference, right? There's got to be a fine line.
Exactly. Set the line. Yes.
That gray area can only be still so big.
Yeah.
If you cross check a guy in the back 6 times and he's on the ground, you should be getting a penalty.
Yeah.
I don't care if Sam Stanley Cup players or not. That's a cross check. Sorry.
Yeah.
If you can't do it, you want to move the guy and push him with your back or whatever, or give him some light taps. I mean, it's different. There's a difference. Same thing when riding a guy into the boards, right? You ride a guy on the boards, and people go, well, if you grab him, you kind of hold him, and you pull him up into the boards, that's not a hitting from behind or a cross check.
Yeah.
Because you're helping him. If I smoke him into the board and bounce off him, that's a penalty from behind. Right, so some people don't understand. But if you kind of almost bear on them, it's almost safer to do that. Now,
it's the Brian Burke rule. The Brian Burke rule.
Yeah. Now, once that's happened, you have to release. If you don't release, it's a penalty. It's holding. So anyways, all I ask, and I think we're both on the same page, is call the rule book, make the rules how they are. Everybody will follow. Consistency, and don't have idiots that think it's all about them, because it's not about you. Nobody comes to see the fucking ref except for the ref's family, and if they do, they shouldn't come anyways. Period.
Well, some new news I'm just seeing here, and I don't think this is official yet, but it looks like Taylor Hall might be going back to Boston on a 4-year deal. $6 million a year is what Darren Drager said right now. So I don't think that's officially signed right yet, but man, if you get Taylor Hall done for $6 million, fuck me, what a steal. Unreal deal.
Love it. Now, is it Kreider or no? Is Krejci? Is it Krejci that's a free agent, or
I believe he's a free agent. Yeah, I'll check.
Will they have room for him? Because will they, or no?
I think they will have room for him. Yeah, I'm sure. I'll check it out quick, but I'm sure they'll get him in.
If they can bring him back as well, because he's a huge part of that Boston Bruins team, man. He really is on that second line, man. It's just so. But Taylor Hall, good fit for him. I think that gives Boston another chance to win a Stanley Cup for the next couple of years. Yeah.
So Krejci's in that. He is a UFA this year, so a guy's been with. Man, I can't. Did David Krejci ever play for another team? I can't remember. Like, he seems like he's been with that organization for a
while. I don't think he has. I think he was
12, 13 years. So I think here's a question for you. So if Taylor Hall signs at $6 million, does he make more money or less money than Brad Marchand? Do you know his contract?
Does he make more? He will make. Give me a second. He'll make a hair less.
Yeah, Marchand's in 6-1. What a fucking good deal that is.
Nailed it.
Woo! You're looking at your phone.
You get those ringers. Get a ringer. Get a ringer. No, I knew it was cheap. But Brad Marchand 6.1. Are you kidding me? Guy's fucking unreal.
And past the 6-7.
Nasty. He's worth $8 or $9 million. Are you kidding me? You got Marner making 9.5. What does Marner make? 10 million, 9.5 million.
Man,
Brad Marchand makes 6.1. I don't even care. Brad Marchand is more important to a team right now than Matthews. You can tell me different. He's not. When it comes to shove in playoff time, he's proven himself, and Matthews hasn't. Until Matthews does, and he has the potential to do. I'm not saying he doesn't, but he hasn't. So right now,
Marner makes, if you combine Marchand, Pasternak, Marner makes $2 million less than both of them combined.
Yeah, that's nuts. And
like, if you wonder why the Leafs can't combine Boston, because all your money's tied up in fucking 3 guys. Don't
remember, we were going to have him on here today. JM, our friend of the show, and he remember the I love the Tavares thing. We got a free asset. No, you didn't get a fucking free asset because you can't sign anybody else. And I love that. I love that he brought that on. So speaking of JM, we might have some big news with Boo Club Sports coming out the next week or so. Fleming, you might want to touch it a little bit more.
Yeah, sure. So I don't know how much you want to
give a teaser.
Yeah, so we are looking at starting a new podcast here. I know there's a very big sport starting up, especially in the States. It's much bigger in the States than here, but one of the big sports is going to get going come September. I enjoy gambling on it quite a bit. A lot of fantasy sports on it. So maybe Boot Club Sports is diving into to a new podcast, possibly with your boy JM.
And another friend of the show. So it's going to be interesting, guys. We've got a lot of things going on. We also want to get involved more in some various sports. So we might have a little a podcast for that as well. And we would also like to announce, we talked about this a few weeks ago. We've never actually officially announced it, but we have a new partner that we would like to talk about. Maybe quickly, you want me to talk about them?
Go ahead, yeah.
We can officially talk about, I think, now, is we're very proud to have these guys as one of our partners, and I know they're proud to be our partners, is the Belleville Senators. So the Belleville Senators and Pay It Forward Sports / Blue Club Sports have teamed up. They're going to be helping us with various events, with gifts, with tickets, helping us in the long run raise more money for kids who can't afford sports. So we're going to have a long-lasting relationship with them. We have a lot planned. We're just getting started. But that'll really go into our next thing they're helping out with, which I'm going to get into here in a second. But the Belleville Senators, Pay It Forward Sports, Blue Club Sports, we've teamed up. We can't wait to get started. I know as a fan, and I know people might see it differently because I'm an Ottawa Senators fan, but we need to get more people back in the rink, and they got to see it as Belleville's team, not the Ottawa Senators farm team. There's a difference there. We've talked about this many times, and this year I think our goal in this show as well is to bring more of the Belleville Senators to life. One other thing is we're going to be getting Belleville Sens players as guests on the show. I know I'm excited about that. One day they could be in the NHL. One day they could be on the Battle of Ontario Hockey podcast. How awesome is that? Another day they're playing for the Belleville Senators, winning a Calder championship, hopefully, which would be awesome. So you know what, guys? We're really going to be promoting the Belleville Senators this year, and they're going to be promoting us. And together, we have a goal to help kids in need who can't afford to play sports. So it's going to be awesome. I'm so over the moon that they have decided to help us out. We're going to help them out as best as we can with our podcast, with our tournaments. With our social media, we are going to be pumping their tires, and hopefully they'll be pumping ours. And to lead me to the next thing.
So I want to say one thing about the Senators too, is you've said that how they're kind of Belleville's team, and this is kind of their way of integrating into the community, right? Is they're going to try to help local things like us, like Pay It Forward Sports. So they are going to be a main sponsor. We're going to be pumping them. They're going to be pumping us, but they have agreed to give us some tickets for our upcoming road hockey event. So 24 free tickets. We are giving those all out to kids to go out and see the Belleville Senators at the CAA Arena. And that's what they need. We need to get young fans going out to the game. Like some of my best memories as a kid are going to the the Yarden at the time, now the CAA Arena, and just to watch hockey games. It was such a fun thing, you did on Wednesday and Saturday night. And if you're a kid, you're an adult in the Belleville region, go watch the Belleville Senators. It's such good hockey, and they are a part of this community now. They are Belleville's team. This is the second best hockey league in North America. We are so lucky to have a team like the Belleville Senators, and we just want to thank them very much for jumping on board with us. And get out, get your season tickets, get your tickets. They're going to be tons of fun to watch. They play their home opener August 16th against Laval Rockets, so check that out. I think Boot Club Sports will be there.
October 16th.
What did I say?
August, but no worries. So, and that leads me to the next thing Fleming touched on a little bit, is our Road Hockey Championships. It's going to be awesome. We have slightly moved the date. It's August 28th. It's a Saturday. Belleville Senators have teamed up with us. We have 4 different age groups. So we have an adult. So Rondell Glenn has teamed up with us as well for this event, as well as our lob ball. So thanks again to Rondell Glenn. I know Fleming and I can't wait to go golfing there again. And I'm going to whip his ass. I think we were talking about Friday. So Fleming, look out for Fleming to get his butt whipped. We're going to do some live stuff. We'll get into that later. But I always got too much on my mind, Fleming. Okay, where was I? The Road Hockey Championships, guys. This is going to be awesome. We're already getting a lot of people interested. So if you want to play, you better get in now while there's time. But it's at Maranatha Church in Belleville, right on College Street. We're going to have 4 rinks going. We're going to have an adult rink. It's going to be awesome. So if you win the adult division, you get free passes to Rondell Glen. So how awesome is that, right? You get to go golfing for free. Plus you're helping out the community, helping out our business. And then there's going to be 3 divisions for kids. So if you got a kid 8 years old and up to 18, within that gap, get them on a team. Get your friends together. Get a hold of us. We'll get them on a team. We'll put some teams together. I think you can have 7 to 9 players with a goalie. That includes a goalie, guys. It's 4-on-4 road hockey, ball hockey. We're going to be in a parking lot. It's going to be awesome. We cannot wait for the event. Each winning division for the kids, each winning team in each kids division, spit it out, Brokey, will win tickets to a Belleville Senators game and Belleville Senators hats and more. We're going to get more to you. Plus, we're going to have possibility of some other gifts for just entering. Everybody's going to be able in a draw. We might have some other giveaways like hockey sticks. The hockey stick man is going to be giving away a stick there as well. Belleville Senators are going to be selling some of their gear there. Possibly even you'll be able to purchase tickets. It's going to be one heck of a day, guys. Tell your kids, tell your grandkids. If you're a kid, get in. Get a hold of us. Pay it forward sports at hotmail.com. Pay it forward sports.ca. Get a hold of us on Facebook. Even if however you're getting a hold of it, watching this show, get a hold of us. Get in the tournament. It's going to be a ton of fun, guys. August 28th in Belleville.
And just be clear with everyone, it is a paid event. There is an entry fee for the kids team. But with that said, if you can't afford to play, like I think it's like $20 or $25. Like if you can't afford to play, just shoot Jeff or I a message. Like we'll pay for you to get in. Like it's not about the money. It's just about everyone getting out, having a good time. Enjoying time with your friends and family, playing sports, being around people you enjoy. So if you can't afford to play, just shoot us a message. We'll get you in the tournament. We'll get you on a team. We just want everyone possible who wants to play to come out and participate. And it's going to be a great day, and we're looking forward to it. So August 28th, Pay It Forward Sports Road Hockey Championship.
And another thing to go along with that, we have one other event for sure in September, which we will be launching within the next week or so. And we have another event that we're working on launching as well that could possibly be at the end of September and more. We're just getting started. So lob ball this weekend, golf championship. This is going to be awesome. August 21st, road hockey championships for golf passes, for Belleville Sens tickets, Belleville Sens hats, hockey sticks, and more. You got chances to win. How awesome is that? August 28th in Belleville. And then possibly a hockey tournament, possibly more. It's only getting started, guys. We're talking about 1, maybe 2 more podcasts the next few weeks. Things are wheeling, dealing, kiss, stealing, son of a gun. Woo! Are you excited, Flem?
Woo! Oh, yeah, I'm ready to go, bud. Just loving it here. It's we've been busy, but it's great. We've got a lot of support from the community, and we're looking forward to it. It's lob ball this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. It's a 2-day event. The winner's going to win golf passes to Rondell Glen, so a free round of golf for your whole team, up to 12 players. So that's going to be a great event. And the Boo Club Sports Home Run Derby. I know we want to put a little, make that interesting, get some videos about that, and possibly put a few bets down who we think's going to win. You Braxton, your Vlad Junior cuts, or?
Pardon?
I've been talking to a few guys. They say that they were practicing their Vladimir Jr. home run cuts. So
no, I got the Batista. But no, it should be fun. And that's one thing we need to talk about. So every tournament is ran by Pay It Forward Sports. In case you guys don't know, it's our partnered company. We are one company together, with 2 faces, I guess, is the way it works, or 2 branches. So Pay It Forward Sports runs most of the events. Blue Club Sports, we have our podcast, and we have other things. We will also be participating in every event. So, for instance, we're going to have some sort of shootout or something at our road hockey featured by Blue Club Sports. Blue Club Sports is a whole sponsor, and it's the fastest hole. It's going to be a ton of fun at our golf tournament. At the lob ball, Blue Club Sports is putting on the home run derby. So we have a ton of things going on, guys. It's going to be a ton of fun. And check us out this Saturday. We're going to be doing some live stuff on Pay It Forward Sports and Blue Club Sports. You're going to probably be able to see some clips, possibly some live clips of the home run derby on us on Facebook. So if you don't follow us on Facebook, follow us on Facebook. Check it out. It's going to be an awesome time. And next Friday, we are going to be live, as far as I know, if Fleming hasn't canceled yet, from Rondell Glen. We're going to do our podcast. It's going to be done a little differently. We're not going to have an hour and a half podcast. It's probably going to be a lot of little clips live on Facebook. It's going to be Flem versus Broke at Rondell.
And you're going down, but I haven't out practicing. I haven't had the
wallet full of cash. I'm coming for it.
You don't have enough cash to keep up with us, buddy. So
no shit, you're a government worker.
Hey. Anyway, guys, that's it for today. So like Brody said, check us out online on Facebook, payitforwardsports.ca. Check us out Instagram as well. And Brokey, one question. Are you in, bud?
Right there, buddy. Right there.
The Boo Club.